So this is a statue of General Francisco Morazan, and I don't know what he did, but this statue was given by the government of Guatemala to the city of Buenos Aires in a sort of gesture of Latin American solidarity and friendship. Anyway, I walk by this every day, and I got to thinking, as I often do, walking by statues of famous people, usually famous men, that there's something kind of boring and kind of repetitive and kind of, I want to even say myopic about the idea of always memorializing the famous people of a given time, the people who occupy high posts. In fact, in the U.S. Senate, every vice president has its own bust, and there's a whole kind of series of hallways that contain them all, and so forth and so on. No matter what they achieved, whether they achieved anything, regardless of whether they achieved anything, even if they were totally dastardly guys like Richard Nixon. Anyway, I got to thinking about whether, it might be possible or whether it would be interesting to memorialize this sort of common guy, or a representative guy of a period, or gal. And I got to thinking that I feel like the way that's done sort of most commonly now is in beer commercials, these homages to commonness or averagedom or mediocrity or something that are also, usually cheeky and usually in the service of selling something. In War and Peace, Tolstoy talks about how it's the soldiers at the sort of ground level, the frontline troops who've got the most freedom, literally the most agency. He thinks the people at the top of the hierarchy, like the Napoleons of the world, are so constrained by circumstances and the people that surround them and the responsibilities they have and so forth that they can't actually make independent decisions and don't actually take meaningful action, whereas the people on the front lines are the ones that are sort of driving and creating history. I think there's a lot of problems with that sort of theory too. It's almost the reverse of this sort of depiction of famous men, but it certainly does suggest that it might be possible, it might be interesting, it might be more interesting to sprinkle our cities with a depiction of a sort of life as it's lived in particular periods, rather than these men who may be the sort of most prominent somethings or other in a particular domain, but don't represent all that much, at least quite often.